What's up, everybody? My name is Matthew Stratton, MatthewCreating.com. So I want to do something a little bit different rather than going in and doing a tutorial. I just want to kind of hang out with y'all, and I want to show you what's inside of my music app. So this is like my streaming service. I use YouTube Music. So I'm going to go ahead and show you inside of there, and I'm not going to necessarily play any of the audio, but I just kind of want to show you what I got going on here. So let's go ahead and take our attention right here. YouTube Music app. So here we go. The first thing shows up at the top here are my favorites. I'm assuming these are like my most played, artist, what have you. And the endless mixtape is just a mixtape. But if you look, I guess my most played artist is Aphex Twin. Tap on that for a second. So Aphex Twin, if you don't know, makes a lot of electronic music. I want to get my face out of the reflection here, maybe. All right, so if you don't know, Aphex Twin does a lot of wild electronic music, some ambient stuff, some high energy stuff, some weird, trippy kind of electronic music. I believe he's categorized as IDM music. And right here, Window Liquor is actually the album or the EP that got me exposed to him. Because up to that point, I really didn't listen to a lot of electronic music. I heard electronic music, but I was into just guitar music at the time, metal, whatnot. A buddy of mine, his name was Craig, pulled up into high school and he was jamming this thing. He was jamming this Window Liquor EP. And I was like, what is that music? Turned out it was Aphex Twin Window Liquor. It was just so cool. The different effects that it was, like the drumming, and then it sounded like there was some kind of weird guitar effect in there. Here's more of a recent one, T69 Collapse. Very good. He's got a lot of good stuff. All right, moving on. So there's Aphex Twin for you. Next on here, I guess my next most listened to, I'm assuming this is by listened to. All right, Atmosphere. Anyway, Atmosphere is a American hip hop duo from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the rapper in the group is Slug. The producer is Ant. And, they've been making music for quite a while. Really, learned about Atmosphere was a group called Deep Puddle Dynamics with 4 different rappers. It was Soul, Slug, Alias, and Dose One. And, a collection of producers. And I listened to Deep Puddle Dynamics. They had an album that they had released. They only released one album and an EP. But that album they released back in the day when everybody had burnt disc. But somebody gave me the burnt disc, and it had some different versions of songs that weren't on the actual EP that you can stream now. But I remember listening to that record over and over and over, just listening to it, man. It just really got me into the appreciation of just kind of sample drum beats. But anyway, I listened to Deep Puddle Dynamics over and over again, and that album really got me into listening to sampled hip hop music. Slug was in that group. Yeah, he's got a new one out. All right, and then we got EP from Aphex Twin. We got another album from Aphex Twin here. Both really good. Some of his newer stuff. Squarepusher, another great guy. So Squarepusher, again, that same dude that got me into Aphex Twin got me into Squarepusher and a handful of other electronic music producers, what have you. Squarepusher is excellent. He's got a ton of good stuff. He does a lot of sampling and electronic stuff. Plays the bass, triggers instruments from his bass. Does live performances that way. Really good. If you haven't heard him, look this guy up, man. Okay, 9 Inch Nails. So Trent Reznor is the man. You can see right here, Closer. I remember hearing Closer, the single Closer, on the radio, and then going over to my buddy's house and hearing that song. Then he played that song because he actually had the CD or whatever, and I remember him putting on that song and being like, oh, so that's 9 Inch Nails. And then I read a little bit about him, listened to a lot of interviews, and I was like, oh man, this guy's producing a lot of this on his own, and and then that got me to wanting to really produce music. So big shout out to Trent Reznor on that. But he's still going strong, man, making music. 2018. Yeah, 9 Inch Nails. Then we got Saul Williams. And Trent Reznor and Saul Williams actually made an album together. This album is called The Inevitable Rise and Liberation of Niggy Tardust. Good album. All Saul Williams albums are good. Anything he does is just really, really good. So his most recent one is Martin Luther King. And he came up with that album. He said he was listening to French people speak because this guy lives, he's lived in different places, but he was listening to French people speak, and they were saying Martin Luther King, but how they said it was like he heard them, like how he was hearing them was Martin Luther King. And so he decided to make an album out of it. And it's like a concept album. Like a lot of his albums are just, they have a theme to them. And this one is about the story of the Martin Luther King. And he's actually making a movie about it as well. It's like a musical, which is really cool. I can't wait for that to come out. I think it's going to come out, next year or whatever. It's supposed to be getting the LP this month, so I'm looking forward to that. And also, he did produce a movie called Slam. It's about slam poetry, different things, and about the community and how he was arrested for selling marijuana and how he didn't, and the whole thing's just about like he didn't do anything wrong in his head and he's just living his life. It's a good movie. Slam, really good movie, and it's also what I interpreted. Part of the movie was just overcoming violence with your words instead of, becoming violent, giving into the gang violence, was overcoming the violence with your words and overcoming that kind of conflict and, working with your fellow brother and sister, you know what I mean? Like working together. Really good movie, Slam. Moving along, we got Ela Minus. Now, Ela Minus, it actually is down here. I want to tap that, see if this one plays. I was just playing the audio. But Ela Minus, the reason why I like Ela Minus, if you look at this, she's got all this different equipment on there. She's got the MPC 1000 on there. She's got the Moog Minotaur. She's got the Electron Analog Rhythm, the Blofeld, and she actually designed this other one. You can't see it. It's going to bother me, so I'm going to look it up. But yeah, she actually designed a synthesizer with Critter and Guitari, and it's a really popular synthesizer, and she actually uses it in this video, and it's really dope that she designs all that and she orchestrates all her music and she sings. Dude, very inspiring. As a solo musician, it's definitely inspiring. Very good. Ela Minus. And what else we got on here? Boards of Canada. Apparently I listen to Boards of Canada. I listen to a ton of music. It's only showing certain things because I mostly listen to this while I'm driving, so this is kind of like my driving music. But Boards of Canada, really dope. They got a really cool, like, chill vibe. It's just really well, but their sound is just so massive. Like, it's so, like, some simple notes, right? A few simple notes, a nice drum beat, but the way that they kind of produce it, it just sounds so massive and really good, and it just grows, man. Their sound, it's a really good sound. Boards of Canada, check them out. All right. So for my recent history, I guess this is the most recent stuff I listened to. We got Atmosphere, Mi Vida Local. All right, that's the newest album from Slug and Ant. We got I Wish I Had a Hat. Now, this is my favorite song from Ela Minus, and this is my favorite version of this song. And she actually has a new album coming out, but it's not out yet. But this is my favorite version of this song because she plays it live. It sounds really good live. And honestly, it sounds better than the EP version. So yeah, check the live version out if you haven't. We got Saul Williams, Martin Luther Soul, and DJ Payne 1. Too Small to Fail, DIY. A good thing about Soul, he was in Deep Puddle Dynamics, but one thing I really like about Soul is just the way he just talks about, doing it yourself, man. Or he was one of the founders of the record label Anticon, and, he releases music on his own now, and in this song, he talks about how he's too small to fail, but he's still doing well. He bought a house, and he's not bragging about it. He's just stating he's doing it on his own. He doesn't need a record company to take half of his earnings. He doesn't need anything like that. He's just going to release it on his own. Really dope. I really like soul. And then we got Alias. And this is actually Alias in Dose 1. This particular song. Alias in Dose 1. Dose 1, again, he's like off on a different level. But Alias is really the person who got me into the MPC, because he used to use the MPC 2000 XL and the MPC 1000, and I bought the 1000 based off of one of his videos, and I actually talked to him at a concert, and he was just telling me different ways of how to connect the MPC and how to record synthesizers, because he did a lot of rapping, but then he went on to just producing instrumentals. And he told me how he would record his MS-2000 and different things like that. So really dope. Love Alias, but his rapping is really good. Like Watching Water, dope song. All right. He's got a lot of good stuff. Alias. All right. And then we got My Dead Friends. Another YouTuber here. Actually did a collab with him. My Dead Friends. He just came out with his EP. Really dope. He just samples like crazy. Madman on the MPC Live. So check that out. Really dope. We got A Book of Human Language. AC Alone. AC Alone was one of the first rappers that I actually got into listening to like full albums. I wasn't really allowed to listen to a lot of different music growing up until I really reached a certain age. And then, like my mom got a boyfriend that moved into the house and had all this different rap and rock. And then I had no choice but to listen to all that stuff because he was listening to it. But that's not how I got into AC Alone. I got into AC Alone for the same person who put me on to Aphex Twin, actually. And this is one of my favorite albums. A Book of Human Language, AC Alone, is really good. Just listen to the album, like the lyrics on here, the beats, everything about this album I really, really like. And let's see what else we got. We got Wu-Tang Clan. I'm not even really going to talk too much about it. You know who Wu-Tang Clan is. So that's pretty much everything I've been listening to recently while driving my car. Because I mainly listen to this app while I'm in my car. But yeah, that's really cool. I just wanted to share something a little different on the channel rather than the same old tutorials, same old mundane, different tutorials. I wanted to share, some insight to what I'm actually listening to. Yeah, let me know in the comments what are some of the favorite albums that you're listening to, favorite groups, favorite rappers, favorite singers, favorite instrumentalists. Let me know in the comments who you like listening to. And I appreciate y'all checking out my videos. It really means a lot. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and commenting, all that fun stuff. You guys rock. My name's Matthew. Continue creating music, and we'll talk soon. Later, y'all.